Welcome to my channel, Untethered for Life. Today's going to be all about the Colorado Pet Pantry, a nonprofit organization designed to feed cats and dogs across the state. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and step inside. I'm sure many of you can relate to the feeling of joy that both you and your animals have when you come home after being away. And that's a large part of what Colorado Pet Pantry does, is make sure that owners of pets have the opportunity to keep those pets at home. I know my life wouldn't be the same without those magical moments that my pets give me. So I did a little research and I decided I would volunteer some of my own time with Colorado Pet Pantry. And I also had the opportunity to sit down with Eileen Lambert, the executive director of Colorado Pet Pantry, to learn more about what their mission is, how they logistically manage it all, and what they need help with to accomplish that mission.
So in 2013, I was trying to figure out what my next step in life was. And I was volunteering at an animal shelter in Denver called Denver Dumb Friends League.
Okay.
And I was training dogs there. And one thing I noticed while I was volunteering there was that, people were bringing in animals that they didn't want to relinquish. And I found that really heartbreaking. What I learned was that there was the top three reasons why people relinquish their animals. Number one reason is cost of housing. The second one is veterinary costs. But then the aha moment was the third reason. The third reason was pet food and supplies. If we could just figure out a way to get all the stuff that people don't want to the people who do want it, maybe we could actually start to solve this problem.
And we're going to talk about how the Colorado Pet Pantry solves this problem. But before we do that, it's story time.
There's actually a really great story that I think really epitomizes what we do. And it was a few years ago, but I was at our Denver Inner City Parish Pet Food Bank, which is really close to downtown Denver. And a family comes up and they actually have their dog, and their dog's name was Lucian. And Lucian was a white German Shepherd, beautiful. They said they went to Dumb Friends League with Lucian that morning and were going to relinquish her. And they said that, they knew that they just couldn't take care of the dog and all the kids in the family and everybody that they needed to do because money was so tight, and they had come to a decision the night before that this is what they had to do for the good of the dog, for the good of the family. It was a heartbreaking decision, and this is where they were. Yeah. And they took Lucian into Dumb Friends League, and Dumb Friends League said to them, the person behind the desk said, "Do you want to relinquish Lucian?" And they said, "No, we don't, but we don't have a choice. We don't have any food." And the person in Dumb Friends League said, "Oh, well, there's a solution to that, the Colorado Pet Pantry." And they gave them our flyer and said, "There actually is a pet food bank today." And the family took the sheet and said, "Problem solved." And they came right to us. We got them food, and now they get to be a family. Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories because I just remember when they told me about this, I'm like, this is why we exist. I'm so glad you came,
My family and I recently had to go through the process of relinquishing 2 dogs after my mother passed away. It was an extremely difficult process and very emotional. I wouldn't wish that upon any family. In fact, I look at my own 2 dogs and the idea of having to relinquish them is absolutely gut-wrenching. Now, while there are times that relinquishing a pet is the best option, there's no reason at all that it should be because of food. Let's see how they do it. All right, so we are at a warehouse in Englewood, Colorado, helping Colorado Pet Pantry organize pet and dog food for distribution at the various food banks across the state. So ideally, what we do is we break down these pallets of donated dog food behind me, and then verify the expiration date, highlight the expiration date, make sure that the dogs that are receiving this food and cats have food that's valid. We confirm that the bags are in good condition, check for holes, things like that, and make sure that the dog and cat food is secure. And then we separate it based on weight onto pallets in another area of the warehouse.
Sort our food. This is our dog aisle. Anything 10-pound bags and under go here. 10 to 20-pound bags go there. 20 to 35 go in these two. That one's 40 plus.
It's better for the pet to not be changing homes. It's hard on pets to have them change homes a lot. It's called the human-animal bond, and it's very important to try to not break that. It's also, proven to be really good for the elderly, help keeping blood pressure down. The therapy animals go into hospitals. That's why, because animals are good for people.
All right, so we're down to the last couple bags of the 4th pallet. Wrapping up for our time here in the warehouse. Just a couple more bags left, final push. What a day it's been. So after spending a day in their Inglewood warehouse sorting pet food, the next day I visited the Outreach United Resource Center in Longmont, Colorado to hand out food to participants in the program. Let's go see what it was like. All right, so one of the first steps is when the food arrives, we pull it all out, organize it, separate it. Before we start handing it out, we make sure that it's set up in such a way that it'll go smooth and efficiently. As you can see here, they brought quite a bit of food, and we're about to get started here in a few minutes. We did cut it close with some dry cat food. One of the volunteers very kindly offered to go pick some up from the store, which was super sweet. There are a lot of smiles here today. People clearly love their pets and they share their stories and the things that they love about them, and you can tell that there is hope when you give them that pet food. All right, so we have exhausted the line today. It's about 10:15. We're gonna hang out here for another 45 minutes. Help the trickling few that come through the rest of the morning. So as we wrap up, Brittany, one of the volunteers for Colorado Pet Pantry, asked me to make sure I got a picture of her earrings. They were actually made by another volunteer of the pantry. There was an extremely strong sense of community amongst this group of people. It was so nice to be around. So before I talk about the things that you and I can do to help Colorado Pet Pantry, I really wanted to understand some of the obstacles and challenges they faced. Here's Eileen.
Today I know a lot of shelters are full because we're having the aftermath of COVID. During COVID, people adopted animals. Now people are going back into offices, and so some of those animals are not working out because they're not used to the families not being home. It costs at least $500 on average for an animal shelter to rehome a pet. So if you have pets that already have a loving home, and all they need is a donated bag of pet food to get them through so they don't have to be relinquished.
So crazy. So I'm gonna pause for just a moment here. While Colorado Pet Pantry does a lot of work to keep pets in their homes, she also very elegantly describes her thoughts on animal shelters. And I think it's worth pointing out.
If someone needs to relinquish their animal, if especially those first two reasons, vet care and housing, if you need to do it, I really think people should feel good about that decision. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that makes me sad is how upset people can get when someone has to relinquish an animal. Because a lot of times we're not in their house. We don't know, did they make a bad decision? or did life just change and they're just trying to hold it together? And I always feel that we should give people some grace around that decision, because I don't think it's an easy decision for people. And if they do need to make that decision, our shelters are amazing. Colorado Pet Pantry's main challenge is this looming recession, which means need is going to go high and donations are going to go down. And that is my biggest concern, is that we're going into a time when people really need our help. And I also see donations are getting pulled back, and I mean financial donations.
Right.
Hopefully the food will keep coming in, but we also need the financial donations in order to do all
The distribution.
the trucking, all those aspects, the storage, all of that costs money. And we're definitely seeing donation dollars going down. And that's my big concern, is that, things for the last 10 years have been pretty darn good because we've been in a good economy. And now we're a 10-year-old organization. We're starting to see our first pullback with the economy. And it definitely makes me nervous, because we want to be able to help people and we want to not have to pull back.
Yep.
And I really hope we don't have to pull back, but we have to have the funds to do it.
Right. Colorado Pet Pantry has already done some amazing work to keep pets in their homes. With inflation, wage stagnation, animal shelters at capacity, rent and home prices at an all-time high, Colorado Pet Pantry faces an uphill future, and they can use all the help they can get now. Where can people go to donate to your organization?
Yes, coloradopetpantry.org. There's a donation button, and it costs $5 to feed a dog or cat for a full month, because we do get all of the food for free. It's just a matter of getting it where it needs to go.
I've included a link to their website in this video's description down below. Also, I encourage you to share this video with as many people as possible. Share it with people that may need help feeding their dogs. Share it with folks that may be interested in helping their community and volunteering. Share it with folks that may be willing to donate it. Share it with other pet lovers. The more people that are aware of what Colorado Pet Pantry does, the more opportunity we have to give them the help they need to keep animals in their owners' homes. Thank you. So thank you for watching my video today. Just so you know, I love everything about the state of Colorado. I'm constantly exploring it, trying to discover new things, develop community, and be a part of the community. If you live in Colorado, you're thinking about moving to Colorado, or you vacation here, you should subscribe to my channel. You'll learn a lot of neat stuff about what this beautiful state has to offer.